Hi, Tate here, and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would attempt an eye tutorial for Chibis, because it's something I'm starting to feel slightly more confident in. I still struggle with like 3/4 views and stuff, so this is just going to be front on Chibi eyes. I'm going to mess around with styles. Like, all my eyes look slightly different, but they all have sort of the same basis, and messing around with that is the fun part, like trying to make your eyes look different. Move this up just a little bit. Draw on the faces eventually, because I'll show you the colouring, how I colour as well. This layer. So I tend to sketch in a blue colour, I don't know why, I just do. So different ways to mess around with like the shapes of the eye. Just draw shapes like circle shape. You can do more of a square short shape. You could do an oval, more of an oval shape. And those are pretty much the sort of 3 shapes I end up working around, but you can definitely experiment more, like you can change the shape up a bit. Once I've done the shape, I'll do it like both sides, like that sort of thing, and then I'll slowly add to it. And then I add the top eyelash, which, yeah, it's just a lot of experimenting. You can see a lot of these are different, like here I bring down the pointy bit lower, here it's a lot thinner and longer, and here it's just sort of like cut off, not, yeah. So generally what I do is I'll just bring a line over the top, trying to keep it pointed on the inside. So I'm classing like this is the inside, there's a mouth here, a mouth here. I need to get rid of this line though. Move it closer. This way. And then I sort of just try and make it pointed at the end. Sometimes I'll bring it lower. Yet again, this is just one of those things you can mess around with, but this is how I do it. It's just a line over the top of the circle, and then adding like a triangle at the end. And then, after that, you can add eyelashes. You can even extend this bit further. You can add eyelashes. Sort of try and keep them a curved shape. And you can also sort of make them more like triangle, bringing them 2 lines up together. I only tend to put a few at the end. That's a bit more than I'd normally put. I'd probably only put like that amount I'm happy with that, and then one at the front as well. Then the eyelid, which I just do a small little curved line on top. And that could work for your eye, but you can also add a line underneath. And it sort of just closes it, because if you have the skin, let's create a new layer quickly. So if we have a skin color behind this, it sort of just makes it easier to add white, the eye whites. I need to add a blue color in the middle of the eye. It's gonna annoy me. Too dark. Lighten it. And you can also add eyelashes to the bottom as well, which I usually do. So they're a bit shorter, but I do the triangle thing as well that I did before. I'm not happy with how that one's turning out. Let's make this brush a little bigger. And that's essentially how I draw an eye. I'll mess around with these other shapes as well. Let's just move this over. And we'll get rid of the colour there. So now we're at the sort of more rectangular square shaped eye. I struggle with this a bit more. I like the really round open eyes, but this is good to make a more sort of mischievous, sort of not as happy and good. Like, I tend to associate the smaller squinted eyes with more sort of dark characters in a way. But I generally go with the same thing. Line over the top that I keep curved. And then I'll bring it into a bit of a triangle shaped. At the end, obviously you can make that higher or lower. And then eyelashes again. Like, you can do different eyelash lengths as well. You can keep them really short. You can make them long. I tend to go a little bit long with some of them. Like, you can see Charlotte's here. They're pretty long. I can't draw over the top because that's the top layer. So, yeah, and then just adding a small line at the bottom. Add more. Now for the oval shape, I tend to go with the more circular shape. Like, some of these are a bit more oval. I try to do them based on the character a bit. I don't like extremely oval. For myself, I just don't like working with it. I just like the round shape. I'll do how I've done the eyes for these two at the top. So I sort of draw the shape for the top lash, and then I just erase it to sort of give it that more square edge. Then I do my curved line for the lower lash at the bottom. Also, as well with the eyelashes, instead of just doing them two separate lines, you can just fill it in. We'll do our eyelid and eyelashes. So that's sort of pretty much how I go about drawing the eye. I'll draw some up, I'll sketch some up above on the faces, and I will put that in time lapse, and then I'll come back to real time when I go to actually do the line art part of it. So I will see you soon. I'll probably end up adding a voiceover to the time lapse just to explain stuff. Okay, so first I done the sketch anyway, so I'll just lower the opacity of that. The lines that I've done in the inside are just like the circle, circle, boop. It just helps me process the sketch in a sense, like it makes it easier for me to look at the sketch while I line it. When I line it, I use this textured brush that I got from the Clip Studio shop, but I cannot actually find it anymore. That doesn't matter though, you can just use a normal pen as well, which is just as easy. Like, I think it's harder with this pen because it's got opacity, and yeah, but I enjoy the textured look of it. So I tend to, originally I'll do the, like in the line art color, which I tend to do a pink color, and then I eventually change it, so I'll just do it in pink right now. And I tend to just make it big and do it in like one stroke, because I really struggle with drawing eyes. I really do sometimes. Although this isn't working right now, I can't get a shape that I like. The problem with this brush, if I do it like this is the advantage of not using this brush and using a normal brush, because the opacity, it just just doesn't like to always line up, and I don't like pressing really hard just to get it to be full opacity, and that means going over it again and again, and it just ends up looking more messy to me. And now to try and replicate that. I sometimes, when I'm lazy, end up just copying it, which I always used to get told off by a friend for doing, so I've tried to stop that habit. Also, you probably just saw me, I was measuring, like trying to find where the bottom was on this side and bring it across over to make them even, and it's the same thing to do with the point. If they look completely symmetrical, it can look a bit weird sometimes. So even when I do copy it, I will always do the colouring separately. The eyelashes I tend to do separately as well. And the circle in the eye I tend to do separately. I think that's a bit low here. This feels rounded. And it's a bit thin here. Then from here, I do the underline, like the lower lash line, which I always do in a thinner brush. And it takes me a while to be happy. Like, I do try and follow the sketch to an extent, but it comes up here. And then once I do that, I'll add the circle, the colourful part of the eye. And this is where I have the most trouble getting some symmetry. This eye is different as well. Like, this comes more. Made it a bit more. Let's bring it out that way a bit. And add the texture back. That's also the problem. If you go to erase stuff with this, using this pen, it takes away the texture that you had with it. Anyway, so now that you've done that, I'm not happy with this curved line. It's just a matter of getting it happy, like to a point that you're happy. That's the most important thing with your art. Doesn't matter what other people think, it's just what you like. And if you don't like it, well, that's a bit hard of a topic at the same time, because a lot of artists tend to not like their own work. But just, I don't know how to explain that now actually. Be confident in your work and ability, and get it to a point that you're happy with how it looks, even if you wake up the next day and end up hating it. Then you can fix it again. Anyway, from here, eyelashes. I'll just do single lashes. I want to add. No. It's just a lot of messing around. And lower lashes. That's pretty much how I draw eyes. After this point, this is when I add color and stuff. That's that layer. Let's add a color layer. So if I lock the transparency, what color will make these eyes? Let's just do pink eyes because why not? I'll do the background color first, and I'm liking this pink. This is when I go back to the normal solid pen, just because when I'm coloring I don't like the base color possibly having different transparencies. So we'll fill that in. Like, I'm using the exact same color I used for the line art, and you can already see like the difference from transparencies. And we'll go back up to the top layer. Since we've done that color, we'll make it a bit darker. I tend to use the airbrush when I'm coloring in eyes. One thing I always do, because I end up doing the eyelid on this layer, I change it from the actual color, and which slightly annoys me, so maybe don't get in the habit of that. But yeah, I do with the eyes in a darker color. Then I'll come back to the outside with a lighter color and sort of just do it on the ends of the eyes and the inside. You can even do it like as the skin color, just a little bit. And then we'll go into actually coloring of the eyes. I tend to do this on heaps of layers. Doesn't mean that you have to as well. Go just a little bit lighter than the darkest bit. And I always make it a clipping group to the base color, which in Clip Studio Paint you do just by clicking this little button here to make it a clipping group. It'll have that pink line. But from here, I'll add the center of the eye, which I tend to just do a circle sort of shape. Get them looking roughly like about the same size and shape. I'm not fussed about the top half of the eye as much, because that will get covered by the next layer, but I want the bottom of it to look smooth. So we'll create another layer, another clipping group, and then I'll come over with the airbrush and just go over the top. My eye coloring technique changes all of the time because I'm always experimenting and trying to improve on what I know and to make it better. So I've created another layer, and this is where I will go and use a brush tool because I like the way it blends more, and choose a lighter color to sort of make it look glowy. You can even go like blue, or like in this example might go a little bit dark. I'm just adding it in the bottom. It's not looking extremely bright, so I could go even lighter and just add a bit more to the middle there. And you can always fix up the shape by erasing it a bit. Then from here I add another layer. I add a lot of layers. Something you can also do, which I've done in some of these eyes, done it in the bottom ones, and these ones of Charlotte, so these two. You can go and add a lighter line in the sort of, is it a pupil of the eye? I can't even think right now. In this area, which I'll do with the normal pen. And take a little bit of messing around to get it the right shape as well. Sort of just like a U shape in the darker part of the eye. And then from here, create another new layer. You can go to the darker color and sort of do like an upside down, make it a clipping group. Doing an upside down view over like half of the, if I could do it right, over half of the eye. You can mess around with layer modes now, like multiply, which I feels a bit too dark. I can't just scroll down these easily. Color burn. I tend to like overlays sometimes, but this is feeling a bit too bright. Like, none of these are really working today. Not having luck with this video. And then you can lower the opacity as well. It sort of just makes the lower part look even brighter. From here, I'll go back under that layer, creating another clip group. I'm gonna go back to a pink color, maybe a bit more pink, and make it light, and just add like some little dots going up. Colors are just another thing to mess around with. Like, I'm just messing around with blue and pink today because I felt like it. And then from here you can even go in lighter again, switch up the colors, and go over the top of what you just did. Oops. You could even go in like your pupil again and make it lighter, or you can keep it dark. It's your choice. Like, you could even do that and then go in again with your darker color, but that looks a little scary right now. Although, would it look scary with highlights? See, I'm just messing around with this now. Then on the top layer, you can either do this as a clipping group or not as a clipping group. It depends what you're looking for. You can add highlights. If you don't do them on the clipping layer, I'd recommend going above the eye layer so you can go over the lines, because I think sometimes that can look really nice. Or we can get rid of them. I tend to just make it a clipping group and do the big one in the direction of the light source and do a little highlight on the other side. You can also add stuff like those are really different highlights. You can also add stuff like little sparkles and stuff, which I tend to do sometimes, which are not showing up. Will this sparkle show up? Yeah, this one. You can make it more sparkly, or instead of sparkles, you could always just add white, more little white dots everywhere, like little ones. Also, the darker you do your like background colors, the more this bottom half is going to glow, in a sense, like it look like it's glowing. I might just make the eyes a little bit darker, just a little bit. And that is essentially how I would color and draw just normal eyes. I'll do a couple more in time lapse so you can get more of an example. Anyway, now to the other eyes. I'm doing more of the rectangular square shape for these ones, and I decided to go with the dark blue color. And I think these are actually ending up like, I like the colors in this one. The first ones are my favorite eyes out of all the ones I drew in the end. But yeah, I really like these ones as well. I like just the bluey greeny color, and I did the sparkles. And this one I sort of tried to make it more slanted. They're possibly a little bit high up. I'd like to lower them down on the face a bit, but I didn't do that for this recording. And I decided to go with green eyes for this. But yeah, anyway, I'm nearing the end of the video. I really hope you liked this tutorial. I haven't made many tutorials. I ended up deleting my face one that I made a while back because I didn't like it. But I like this one, and hopefully you do too. So thank you for watching, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos every Monday. See ya!